If I was to label this year for me, I would say it was definitely challenging. It was a growth year, and I would also say it was maybe relationships would be another word that comes to mind. What's something that was a mistake in the moment but turned out to be a great lesson? I had an experience basically in work where something didn't work out. The silver lining in it was I ended up meeting my girlfriend through that process, Jordan. That's been an incredibly positive thing for me this year. I have not been in a relationship for a while, like probably close to 5 years now. To have someone as special as her, who's so supportive and is just like an amazingly positive influence on my life is great. I think the biggest lesson of the year for me is that small changes can lead to really good results. So the first 6 months of the year for me in work, I really felt like I couldn't catch a break. I was really trying my best, felt like I was working super hard, and I felt like I was making a bunch of incrementally good decisions, but the screw wasn't really turning for me in work. And it was probably around the June time, around the time of my birthday, kind of end of May, early June, that I felt like the year started to pivot for me. And this second half of the year has been much better in terms of work. We moved into a new studio. We took on new staff, which was a big thing this year. I had a few things on my bucket list. One was to have a studio. Another one was to build a team. And those were all things that I ticked off, which I'm super proud of. I think I'm also super proud of this year that I just kept plugging on even when there was probably weeks and months where it was very difficult, but I kept trying my best. And I think that's important for anyone who's trying to build anything, is that there's going to be months where it is super tough and you can't just give up on those months. You've got to keep pushing through. On the flip side, when I've had really good months, I've kind of remembered that the work it took to get to this place, but also the fruits of your labor now are seeds that you've planted way before, and to keep planting seeds every day and every week for you to really reap those rewards in the future. I think the biggest risk I took this year was taking on the team in the studio. Obviously, there's a lot more costs involved with that. You need to be really consistent with your cash flow. You need to manage your costs. There's just a lot more responsibility with it. I think that was definitely the biggest risk I took this year, but it's definitely stepped us in a direction where we can be a real functioning team of a business rather than just myself. One thing that surprised me about myself this year is that I definitely have periods in the year where my mood is really down. For me, that seems to come at the end of the year and the beginning of the year. And that's just something that I didn't think about too much before, but it's definitely a real thing for me, and it's just something that I have to manage. I think the best experience I had of the year, the favorite place I've been, I've done a bunch of different trips. I went to San Francisco with Ben in July, done multiple trips to London. I think actually the one I'm most looking forward to is I'm going to Italy, Stevens' Day, for about a week or so with Jordan for like 10 days. That's going to be a super fun trip, and I can't wait for that. If I had any advice for myself at the beginning of the year, I think it would be that if you don't work on your business won't grow. And I've definitely been guilty of that this year, of doing a lot of fulfillment and not working on the business. I think another thing would be to just honestly keep your costs down. I'm definitely one who can spend too much. I saw a Hormozy quote before that said, keeping profit in your business is unnatural. If a business is left to its own devices, the profit gets eroded away. And people think of profit as something that's like when people are being greedy. But the reality is that you need profit in there to be safe, to grow your business. Otherwise, it's very hard for it to sustain itself. To maintain that, you kind of need to do things that you don't like. You kind of need to cut out costs that you think don't make sense. It's not always fun having to play that card, but it is something that you kind of need to do if you want to be there for the long term, which is what I want to do with my work. A big change for me this year was spending the full year in the apartments, because I only moved in at the end of last year, and that's been a transformational thing in my life, and I'm super grateful for it. To have your best friends around you, when you see other people pushing themselves, it really pushes you forward. For us to be together kind of as a team has been amazing. And I used to drive a huge amount when I was living with my parents. Now I'm way closer to clients. I'm able to do way more work, which is great. The tennis club is near me. I'm near my gym. So all the parts of my life outside of work that I like doing, I'm now way closer to, which is amazing. In terms of the YouTube channel for next year, I want to keep making the videos. I know I made a decision around was it 6 months ago or so, to do a weekly YouTube video. I'll be the first one to admit, I guess I'm not the most strategic with these. I'm just trying my best to do one every single week. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I've wanted to be there for you guys every week for the few hundred people who watch it. Hopefully something that's positive, but also real and authentic, and you can relate to someone if you're living here, or you have a business that you're growing, or you have a fitness endeavor, that you can follow along with the journey whilst you're going on your own journey. And I plan to keep doing that moving forward for all of next year. Hopefully I can take videos to the next level. That'll be dependent on how much time and resources I can commit to it, but you will get a video every Sunday, and I'm going to try and, make them better. So that's it. That's my 2025 end of year wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Looking forward to seeing you guys next year. Have a safe evening, and I will see you next week. Sayonara.